day and welcome to the news hour coming to you from Metro TV. I am Emmanuel Oladipo. First, the headlines. Nigerian government clamped down on NSAS, freezes promoters' account. Nigerian university student to stay longer at home as ASU strike lingers. Nigerian senator urges President Buhari to discuss with IPOB. Now the news in details. President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Apata, has berated the Nigerian government over its clampdown on leaders of the NSAS protesters.
That have resurrected the consciousness of the Nigerian society.
The NBA president, who in a post on his Facebook page expressed shock at what he termed contrary actions of the government to his earlier disposition, wrote, quote, "With all that's going on the aftermath of the NSAS protests, lawyers are definitely not smiling. DJ Switch has gone into hiding after receiving threatening phone calls.
This our, what they call it, our...
Mo Odele's passport was seized and she has been prevented from traveling outside the country, and Reno Oduala and many others have had their accounts frozen by the CBN. This was not the deal, unquote. Similarly, an advocacy group, Access to Justice, condemning the freezing of the bank accounts of 20 of the NSAS protest leaders by the Central Bank of Nigeria, in a statement on Sunday by its governor Joseph Otte, described the action as illegal without a court order. According to Access to Justice, quote, "The CBN is transforming into a partisan political organ of the government and putting its vast regulatory powers into illicit partisan politics, uses for the purpose of suppressing the legitimate exercise of constitutional rights of freedom of speech and expression. This is appalling for a central bank for many reasons," unquote. The organization also expressed disappointment in Justice A.R. Mohammed for agreeing to issue an order to freeze the protesters' account without fair hearing, noting that asking those caught and crippled by the order to apply to court for review after the order was made is like medicine after death, because in the first place they should be heard before the order was made. Meanwhile, a lawyer and former immigration officer, Daniel Makolo, has condemned the intimidation of NSAS protesters by the federal government, affirming that security agencies have no right to own the citizens for expressing constitutionally guaranteed rights. Speaking with newsmen recently, Makolo said, quote, "To restrict any citizen's movement is guided by law. If it is not by the court or during national emergency or epidemic, detention or restriction of movement of anybody, it cannot be by the whims and caprices of the government," unquote. Makolo also said that the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) does not have powers to seize a citizen's passport without regards for the rule of law and a court order. Also, a group, Center for Liberty (CFL), has condemned arrest of NSAS protesters by the police in Abuja, accusing government of forming an unholy alliance with the judiciary to oppress Nigerians. This was contained in a statement titled "Release All Arrested Protesters Now," signed by the CFL co-governors Adebayo Raphael, Adenyeju Deji, and Ariyo Dari Atoye. The Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) has revealed that the lingering strike is owing to the insistence of the federal government of Nigeria to use the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System (IPPIS) to pay some entitlements due to its members. The union, in a statement endorsed by its national president, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, accused the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation of withholding members' salaries and checks due payable, saying that, quote, "In closing the meeting between the leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the federal government team, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, promised to send to the union government's written position on ASU's response to their initial offer. All concerned ministries, departments, and agencies will be consulted for their input into government's new positions. Nigerians should bear with us. Our union is struggling to ensure that the children of the poor who cannot afford the prohibitive cost paid in private universities or do not have opportunities to study outside Nigeria get quality education which is not priced beyond their reach. This will only happen when government adequately funds public universities and addresses the rot and decay in them, unquote. The union also urged the federal government to leave the IPPIS as condition to call off its ongoing strike in the country. Recall that the union embarked upon its nationwide strike from March 23, 2020 to demand revitalization and academic allowances, renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, and visitation panels, among others. The union, on many occasions, has shifted its position in some respect, having reduced the demand of one tranche of 220 billion naira of the outstanding revitalization fund by 50%, and agreed that the 30 billion naira out of the so far verified arrears of 40 billion naira of the earned academic allowances be paid to its members, while the balance of 10 billion naira could be spread over the next two tranches. Renewing its commitment to fight for equality education in public universities as well as quality welfare packages for its members, the union told the Nigerian government recently that University Transparency Accountability Solution (UTAS) can be ready in 3 weeks if the federal government is committed. Meanwhile, the federal government is asking ASU to transit to the IPPIS pending when the UTAS will be ready for use, a request which ASU has rejected, saying, quote, there was no need to transit to IPPIS since UTAS could be ready in at most 3 weeks if government was sincere, unquote. The union hinted that what is left for UTAS to pass integrity tests is what it has started with National Information Technology Development Agency, having submitted documents to NITDA. The union insisted that, quote, if government demonstrates sufficient goodwill and support, we can put the final stage behind us as a matter of weeks, maybe 2 to 3 weeks at most. It is the goodwill, commitment that we are now looking for. Rather than focusing on that, government is insisting that there is a transition. Transition for how many weeks, how many months? This last week, the state paid some of our members who are not on IPPIS, so what platform did they use? Unquote. Also, the federal government informed the union that other unions will benefit from the 30 billion naira and academic allowance to be paid to it, but the union rejected the development, asserting that it will be for its members alone since the union negotiated for ASU and not for other unions. Senator Theodore Orji, representing Abia Central, has urged the Nigerian President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, to hold dialogue with the leadership of the indigenous people of Biafra to avoid any further confrontations. Speaking recently during an interview with journalists in Abuja as part of activities to mark his 70th birthday celebration, the senator, who was a two-term governor of Abia State, said, quote, if there are dissenting voices, the president should call them and discuss with them. He should find out the cause of their agitation and work out ways to address their grievances. He should see how he can bring them in and fully integrate them into the system. That is what will solve the problem of the country, unquote. Orji, while affirming that there was nothing bad in discussing with IPOB, warned that if the government refused to discuss with them, they will continue to trouble governance. He also said that his region could not be happy as a result of the marginalization of its people, in that while other regions have 6 states, him and his people only have 5 states. Orji revealed that the cheat on his people is what is causing the agitation in the region, saying, quote, some groups are agitating that the zone should be a country on its own. Others are demanding restructuring because it is glaring that the southeast is being marginalized. Thank you for watching with us. Here is where we end the news hour today. Do join us for another episode on Wednesday. But until then, please stay out of trouble as you enjoy life with your family and friends. Thank you. I remain Emmanuel Oladipo.